When you go to the manga section in Books A Million or Barnes & Nobles, it isn't too hard to find the shonen section. It's the section with all 72 volumes of Naruto. And right below it are the 72 volumes of Naruto Shippuden, and then next to it the 42 volumes of Dragon Ball, the 74 volumes of Bleach, and then somewhere nearby the ever-growing volumes of One Piece. Usually you wouldn't think of something cutesy, upbeat, or, girly. A series like Mangirl. Mangirl is an anime based on a 4-strip comic formatted manga created by Kagari Tamaoka. It's a slice of life anime with a strong comedic tone that follows the adventures and mishaps of 4 young girls, Hana Sasayama, Aki Tori, Tsumogi Haraki, and Ringo Nishijima, who desire to start and successfully run their own manga magazine. It is loosely based on the actual events surrounding the anime and manga's production, as the manga was published in the magazine Comic Earth Star, which stopped releasing print materials in 2014, choosing to go totally digital ever since. Throughout both the manga and the anime, it's made as clear as possible without disrupting the tone of the show that running a magazine is no easy feat. As the story continues to unravel, you realize what it's been trying to convey the entire time. Mangirl teaches its audience about the human condition, to embrace childhood and our childlike tendencies, to welcome the unprecedented and inevitable setbacks, to appreciate the unity and the advantages of being a part of a team, and so much more. But ultimately, Mangirl encourages its audience to think about the natural human inclination toward creation, the desire to make something, and the importance of ambition. Before I get into how the story conveys those messages, I want to talk about the aesthetics. As soon as the anime begins, it wastes no time. Everything is fast, super saturated, and vibrant. The characters are introduced, and as they do so, they leap over one another as children do when they play leapfrog with their friends. The art direction is distinctive in this case. Lines are slim and neat, creating a modern look and adding to the aesthetic appeal. The characters are more defined by round and otherwise soft shapes. The super saturated colors for highlighting made the characters look shiny, sort of like new, as if they were just pulled out of plastic. Altogether, these elements create a sense of youthfulness that fits both the characters and the world around them. The sense of youthfulness never gets toned down either, it gets embraced. Throughout the show, they use all kinds of cutesy fonts, symbols, and depictions of the characters, fully taking on that childlike feel. It almost feels like nostalgic. As for any person who grew up watching anime while they were young, they probably watched a few other animes with a similar cutesy aesthetic. This appeal to the childlike atmosphere and its associated feeling of nostalgia emphasizes the joy of childhood. Most people can remember being as sprightly as these girls, and by embracing this aspect of itself, Mangirl makes it apparent to the audience as well. The first few episodes are dedicated to the union of the 4 girls. Simultaneously, those episodes explore either a struggle, setback, or otherwise success as they continue to pursue their goal. In fact, there is always some kind of struggle the main characters must deal with in each episode. For example, the beginning of the anime follows the freshly formed union of the 4 schoolgirls as they attempt to figure out what kind of magazine they want to make. As this transpires, the following episodes flesh these problems out further. There's always some kind of wall in their path, like always some kind of tribulation. Mangakas don't want to waste their time having their manga published in a magazine that won't get readers or will shut down in the span of a few months or less. On that note, a manga magazine and essentially any literary business really, without a proper budget or pre-established financial support, has a shaky return on interest rate. On top of that, their tiny, unknown magazine is in competition with bigger, better, and better-known magazines. They find themselves scrambling to create solutions to problems they never even thought they'd have to confront. Like what kind of manga do they want to feature, and which mangaka should they represent? What approach to branding are they looking to use? Like, an entire episode is dedicated to this editorial team of newbies trying to figure out what font to use. At every turn, there is a new obstacle to overcome. Initially, it seems like the odds are completely against them and they just can't agree. But one thing that remains consistent is that despite the growing list of questions and concerns, the girls always come out on top because they show up, and they continue to show up, no matter how hard it gets. Even when the startup begins to feel more stressful than exhilarating, they remain hopeful. They keep their eyes forward, continuing toward their shared goal. They don't run from their struggles or throw in a towel when it gets too hard or they get too tired. They embrace the struggle and they welcome it. This is what we recognize as resilience. Through this resilience, the girls show to the audience what it means to show up for yourself. Ambition is possible to achieve when you can push through no matter what, and to keep showing up, if not for others, then at least for yourself. But in the case of the editorial team of Mangirl, they don't just show up for themselves. Truthfully, they do show up for each other. The way the characters work together not only shows a form of resilience, but also shows the importance of teamwork. When those girls came together, it was relatively quick. But it's believable because, likewise, humans often gravitate toward each other whenever they must accomplish a steep goal. While Aki is a little reluctant at first, she, like the other girls, begins to fully accept their roles, taking them as seriously as possible and doing anything within her means to make their dreams come true. The thing is, they understand that to accomplish something as daunting as creating a manga magazine, they'll need to cooperate. Whenever they overcome a setback, it is almost always due to their total cooperation with each other and genuine desire to help. When each person plays their part, things become achievable. As the audience watches the girls stick together and lend a hand to one another, it encourages them to think about their own circle and their own helpfulness. Like, to begin with, do you have that sort of sense at all? Do you help your friends, your family, or your peers in general? Are you receptive to help yourself? Each protagonist of Mangirl possesses that behavior, and as they model it for the audience, it becomes clear to see. A part of the natural inclination toward teamwork is the desire to help and to be helped in return. Humans have always found success in numbers rather than alone, and so using teamwork as a consistent theme throughout the anime drives the point home. And honestly, even people who prefer to work alone, when placed on the right kind of team, can thrive and achieve substantial goals. But the theme of Mangirl doesn't end there. Its usage of struggles and setbacks and the way that the main characters respond goes beyond childhood nostalgia, resilience, teamwork, and a welcoming struggle. Mangirl teaches the audience what it means to have ambition. Humans tend to want to create. From the most practical of things like tools and formidable buildings to things made with the sole intention of bringing about joy, like art. This desire motivates us to strive for something more. To create more, but to make it more grand, to make it better with every new creation. Ambition encourages you to grow, and it defines the bane of who you are. With each passing episode, the audience gets to watch the cast of Mangirl grow too, further becoming the driven individuals they are. By the end of the series, they've finally gotten a grasp of what it takes to maintain a manga magazine. And by the end, the audience also gets to learn what it means to have ambition and what it means to be driven by it, unfettered, without inhibition or fear.